In terms of the monitor, there's a lot of good stuff in this monitor. So let's focus on that for a little while here. So in terms of the monitor, let's take a look at some of the new things in the monitor. This is new 10-inch display. So when you fire this guy up, I haven't started the tractor yet, but when I start the tractor up, what I'm going to see is I'm going to see a few things pop up into here. Obviously, I've got my temperatures in here, engine oil temperature, hydraulic, and also powertrain oil temperature. I'm going to have, that's engine coolant temperature. Sorry, I screwed that up. Engine coolant temperature, hydraulic oil, and then your powertrain oil temperature as well too. Obviously I got my fuel and my def on this side. As I fire the tractor up, I'm going to see my RPM here intermittently. It's going to pop away when it needs to, so we don't leave it up the whole time. Ground speed here as well, all right? And then I've got the camera enabled, so I'm always seeing what's behind me even when I'm not in reverse, all right? Let's just pop through the menus just a little bit here. Gauges, that's the one that I was just on. And when I pull this guy up, I've kind of got my quick menus right here as well too. I can turn my stable blade on and off. I could turn auto carry on and off, and then I could purge my reversing fan. The reversing fan is set up to automatically purge itself. But let's say I see a big piece of material come up on the side, or a bunch of debris, leaves, grass, corn shucks. I can go ahead and push this guy right here, and it's going to do a purge cycle for me. Slope assist. This is our 2D grade control systems. This is going to get you to the 2D grade control system menu. Slope assist, we'll kind of go into that later on, but that's going to put me in auto, or I can go back to manual. And the way we have slope assist on this new tractor is I can run my main fall and my cross slope or blade slope independently of each other. So I can be running blade slope only, and main fall is fully manual, okay? And then there's 3 different ways I can run them in. I can run it off in manual. If I've got that gray box around there, that's going to be in auto. Or if I click it again, that's going to take me to advanced mode, where I can set a recall for when I click my blade into auto, it's going to go to that slope that I have set in my recall. So I can run them. It's very, very versatile that you can run it in manual, in auto basic, or in auto advanced as well too. So pretty simple. That's slope assist. Lots of stuff we could talk about in there. If I go to camera, it puts me into my full rear view camera, my full screen. All right, just like I was in reverse, it's going to put that up here all the time. It does give me my slope readings for my slope indicator of my tractor, but gives me a nice big backup camera. If I'm doing a lot of work behind me, might not be a bad idea to turn that camera on full time. So back to gauges, takes me back to my gauges screen. So one quick thing about slope assist, when I am in the slope assist mode, my buttons on my handle here control slope assist. If I want to use 3D grade control, then I need to go back to my gauges mode. Now my buttons will do 3D grade control once we get that fired up. Okay, so auto manual, and then if I squeeze the trigger and click the button, that is my increment or decrement. Both those buttons are increment and decrement while I'm squeezing the trigger. Okay, auto, manual without the trigger squeezed. So in settings, a lot of stuff in here in settings that's a little bit new. Let's talk, let's just buzz through the machine settings first here, all right? Blade float. This will allow me to have my blade float if I want to put the blade into float. If I don't want to, then I can turn that off, right? And I can take that blade float off so that if I'm a little aggressive with my handle here, it's not going to automatically kick me into blade float all the time. And sometimes we get a little excited while we're doing finish grading and we throw that guy in. I can feel the detent right here. But if I've disabled blade float, now I'm not going to accidentally throw that into float, okay? So if I'm in my finish grade mode, I usually like to turn blade float off, and I also like to turn quick drop off, because I don't want that blade to quick drop. I want it to be nice and smooth when I do that. In terms of the next menu item here is blade response. Okay, standard is kind of your typical cat curve, right? Fine is going to put me into a blade response that is a little bit slower, a little bit finer control for things like finish grading or maybe even some spreading. Anytime I want a nice fine blade, I'll go ahead and put that into fine. If I put that into fast, okay, Fast is going to give me some really good aggressive control. So if I don't want to move my handle very far and I want that blade to move nice and quick, if I'm doing some heavy dozing or some really fast spreading, trying to keep up with the trucks, fast is going to be the blade response that I want to have that in. So work my way down here as well too into auto carry, right? So I can enable or disable auto carry. This works with Cat Grade 3D. And then I can also adjust my auto carry load factor. The lower the number, the quicker auto carry is going to pick up the blade when you start to spin, when you start to slip your tracks. If I'm in some really heavy clay and I want it to rip and snort just a little bit more before it picks the blade up, I'll go ahead and I'll raise this number up a little bit more, and it'll allow the tracks to slip a little bit more, be a little more aggressive before it picks that blade up. And so that's auto carry load factor, and you adjust that in the main tractor setting. Okay, we got another page. Custom Bi-Directional. This is the 5th position on my Bi-Directional dial. Okay, if I have it disabled, my 5th position is going to remember the last speed that I was in forward and reverse. So if I was at 1.2 forward and 2.6 reverse, it's going to remember that when I'm in the 5th position up here on my Bi-Directional. But I can set a custom Bi-Directional. Let's say that when I'm doing my finish grading, I like to go about 1.7, 1.8 forward, 2.3 reverse. Okay, now I can set that. It's not your typical 1F2R, but it is a specific forward and reverse speed. Now my 5th dial position will put me in 1.7 forward and 2.3 reverse. Okay, so custom Bi-Directional. Engine reversing fan, I can turn it on, turn it off. Here's where I can set my fan purge duration. All right, do I want it to run for 30 seconds each time? And it's going to do that let's do every 60 minutes. So once every hour, it's going to automatically reverse that fan and run it for 30 seconds to clean my coolers out, okay, every hour. And so now I've set my fan purge interval. I may want to change that depending on the type of material I'm in. Let's say I'm working in some really really high airborne debris, right? I'm a farm kid from Illinois. So we do dry dams and risers, and we'll do some terraces and things like that. And we have corn shucks blowing everywhere. Well, if I'm in corn shucks and in a cornfield doing some ag work, I'm probably going to turn that down to every 20 or 30 minutes for 20 or 30 seconds, right? If I'm in some nice clean dirt, I could go ahead and have it at every 120 minutes or something like that. So I can turn my lights on and off from here as well too. And then I can do my manual reverse fan purge here as well too. All of those things we just set on the machine are something that we can set in application profiles and save. So application profiles lets me go in, set all those settings, and then save that profile and name it. Okay? I went ahead and I've saved 2 of them. One's called heavy doze and one's called finish grading. So you can see all of the pieces that are saved in here. My float, control, quick drop, right? Auto carry, auto shift, reversing fan, all right? And I've also got some pitch and for my slope assist, I've got my pitch and my slope offset adjustment, and I've also got my slope assist valve speeds in here too. So I can set all of that and save that in a custom setting, and we call that application profiles. It previously would have been an operator profile, but now we've changed that for application profiles because we've separated those two. Your operator profile and operator setting is more related to the code that operator can enter in so that he can start the tractor if we have code to start on here. And then, of course, that code and his usage information, his utilization information can get sent back to the cloud with Product Link. So we've changed application profiles so that every operator can use it. Because, Scott, you might want to jump in here and do some heavy dosing and use my settings. Or you might want to be doing some finish grading and use my settings. So now I can set application profiles and you can come in and do that. So, slope assist. We can come in and change all of the particulars of slope assist. Just like I was showing you on the slope assist screen, by clicking on that slope, we can go from indicate to basic to advanced. I can set what those modes are in here for main fall as well as blade slope. When we're in advanced, we have an increment decrement step size. So we can change each time I click the ink deck button. Now main fall is going to change by 0.2%. Maybe I want blade slope or side slope to change by 0.5% each time I click that button. So that's where I set that for that application that I'm in, or that particular job I'm doing. I can set my valve speed, right? So let's say I want my tilt to be a little less aggressive. I want my raise to be nice and quick, but I want my lower to be right at 100, right on standard valve speed. So I can set those valve speeds in here for slope assist. I can set my blade wear as well. Let's say we've been working this tractor for a couple weeks. We need to go in, remeasure our blade wear, and we can go in and adjust that in here, and that helps keep slope assist nice and accurate. Okay, so those are all our slope assist. And then there's a handful of items in the display as well too, kind of your typical display stuff: language, brightness, units, clock set. Auto night mode, when it senses that it's dark out, it's going to automatically darken the screen. I can turn on or off my reference lines. Camera in reverse only mode. Notice when we first fired the tractor up and you saw that small camera in the middle, well, this would disable that. That would make it to where you only see the camera in reverse mode. But I like seeing it going forward as well too. So, and then of course grade control, software license info as well too. So that's a lot of the stuff in the settings. That's where most of the operators are going to spend their time, and they're going to want to go in and customize this and make it what they want to. If you do want to get in, you can see some information in service. You've got some diagnostics in here. All right, you can see if you've got any codes active or whatnot. You can also go in and look at your parameters on all of the different settings. So if I want to take a look at my powertrain parameters, I can see what sort of parameters I've got going on, temperatures, pressures, all kinds of stuff in here. A lot of information, probably more than what most people want to see. But you can help diagnose some problems for all of the different ECMs and all the different sensors on the machine. So that's all under service. That bidirectional, we already went in there and changed that. That's how you set custom bidirectional. And then of course you got your totals down here as well. It's going to give you hours, fuel, and then distance, right? So a lot of companies start to take a look at their undercarriage wear based on the amount of distance they've traveled in forward and reverse. So this gives you a nice, easy, quick way to get in and take a look at that. So there's a pretty comprehensive look at the monitor of the new D6 dozer.